Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Study of X. I am your host, Tim. This is a podcast we're going to cover the X-Men in chronological order, the Krakoa era. Joining me as always is Chris and Sergio.
Did you say this is a podcast?
This is a podcast.
Are you worried that people may confuse us with something else?
Yeah, it could happen. Look, it's been a long day. Just got off of work.
That's fair. I'm just joking.
It's a good thing we're about to talk about a bunch of comic book bullshit.
Yeah,
we sure are.
I'm glad we're not doing this again tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
No.
Just gonna nod and smile.
But yeah, so this week we're covering X-Men issue number 1 and Marauders issue number 1. The first two in our long line of ongoings that are starting around this time in 2019. But first, we got mail.
We do have mail. We have this from Mino. He addresses this as, "Hello, Sonic the Hedgehog, Fireblend Coffee, and John Cena." He couldn't find the third guy, but he tried. Basically, he sends us an email explaining what Genosha is, and more specifically, what the Genoshan genocide is. So I'm going to summarize his summary, because it's pretty long. But basically, Genosha has been a thing since the Claremont days of the X-Men, which, Tim, you can correct me on, but I believe that was the 80s or the 90s?
Yes. This stuff where he talks about, like, Genosha being a kind of republic that used mutants as, like, slave labor, I have read. I never knew how it ended up where it did as, like, a mutant utopia. I was like, that's a pretty big jump, but yeah. Go on.
Yeah, so like Tim said, originally Genosha is an island off of the coast of Africa near Madagascar. It is a technological advanced society that is prospering very well because it's using mutants as slaves. And they do this by kind of genetically engineering the mutants and calling them mutates. They not only take the mutants that are there and do this, but they will capture mutants from around the world in order to do this. So obviously you got a bunch of stories there about how X-Men are captured and they gotta go save them. But long story short, eventually at some point the United Nations just kind of gave Magneto Genosha. They just sort of shoved a bunch of papers at him and was like, here you go, you take care of it. And somehow over time Magneto was able to take Genosha and make it into a mutant paradise instead of this awful hell world that had been created. And this kind of leads into the Genoshan genocide, which is a Grant Morrison run of the X-Men that the arc is called E is for Extinction. Basically, in this run, we have Xavier learning that mutants are doing really, really well, but that there's a really powerful mutant that he senses kind of off somewhere on an island, and he sends Cyclops and Wolverine to go investigate. And this is where we get into some really weird comic book stuff that I'm sure Sergio is going to love. But there they find Cassandra Nova. She is Charles Xavier's psychic evil self from In the Womb. And there's this whole backstory about how when she first manifested in the womb, you have a baby Charles Xavier killing her in the womb, kind of like Moira when she looks very serious, but instead it's baby on baby violence.
I understood some of those words.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically she is able to control these new Sentinels that can adapt to any environment, and she sends them to go kill everything on Genosha. And they basically do. They kill 16 million mutants and are barely able to be destroyed, essentially. And that's how the Genoshan genocide happened, because Charles Xavier's weird psychic anti-self decided to get mad.
I hate it when that happens.
I know.
Yep.
It's just another Tuesday, really.
Uh-huh.
Well, hopefully that won't be the fate of Krakoa here.
Hopefully not, unless Xavier has another evil psychic twin that we just don't know about yet, which is always a possibility.
Yep. I think it's just him. I think Xavier just might be the evil psychic twin.
Nah, are you kidding? The guy who made the X-Men? No way.
Yeah, he's on the level. Well, with that, do we want to get into it?
Sure, yeah, we can jump into the more sane world of the X-Men, and not the insane world of whatever Grant Morrison was doing.
I'm not so sure, but yeah,
About the sane part?
yes.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot going on. I've read ahead
There,
a little because we're doing some recordings in advance, so my head is like crammed with weird directions this setting is being spun off into, and it's fun time ahead.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it
they
doesn't help that all of these number ones are like 40 pages in length, so there's been a lot of reading.
Yes.
yeah, and yeah, we are going in very different directions in some of these. So let's get into it a bit with X-Men.
All right, well, with X-Men number 1, Pax Krakoa, we are still here with our good friend Jonathan Hickman as he is writing this issue. This was originally released in October of 2019, and it opens up with a look at the past as we see when Xavier first gives Cyclops his red glasses that allows him to see the world again without shooting lasers out of his eyes and killing everybody.
Yeah, he's hesitant to open his eyes, probably because he doesn't know the glasses will work. We also see in the last panel, I think that's his like cool visor, the one he uses when he's um, on an operation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it's the prototype of it that Xavier is building. So,
Right.
but this gives us a really nice first look at what this issue is really going to be about, which is Cyclops and his family. And turning the page, we have a data page here, kind of giving a brief description of what the comic is going to be talking about, as well as every single character that's going to be involved. We're going to be seeing this a lot in all of the issues now. It wasn't really a thing in House and Powers, but now it's going to be extremely common.
Yeah, it's the recap page. They do these in comics a lot. I wouldn't really consider this part of like the data pages or anything. It's just kind of here's what happened last time, and here's all the characters that will be important this issue, which is pretty handy if you don't know who someone is, I guess.
Yeah, I for one appreciate these pages.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. It is nice to be able to see the names and at least be able to reference them too.
yeah. It's pretty much there is just it's the thing in when you're watching a TV show and they do the last time on whatever episode.
Yeah. So here's a question: how usual is it for? Because I know nothing about comics. How usual is it for runs to be intertwined like this? Like at the very last page of this issue, we're getting the order, which is the same one that we're using for these podcast episodes. How common is it to have several of these intertwined in this way?
So it's not unheard of. Hickman specifically had his Avengers and New Avengers run that he was doing at the same times intertwine. Rarely is it done with multiple authors like this, and rarely is it done on this scale.
Hmm.
This is pretty new, to be fair.
Has it been
Mm-hmm.
adopted since by other authors?
Um,
Did you know?
I haven't seen anything else kind of happen with it in
Hmm.
Marvel. I don't know if it's happening somewhere else. You only got really DC. I don't really keep up with them too much.
Right.
Uh, I don't think so. This is pretty ambitious.
Yeah, yeah. I do wonder about the planning that went into this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would love to be in some of those meetings too, where they're trying to figure all of this out and kind of lay out the groundwork.
Yeah, so I know initially the whole thing they were doing here was I think Hickman was kind of the overseer of the whole thing. Like I think he was the one that was more or less giving like the broad strokes of what direction they were going in, but for the most part I think everyone's telling their own story even if they are like happening at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have someone keeping track of things and like giving the thumbs up to the bigger pitches.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think they do a really good job with this because of how big it is too. Even on smaller scale projects, sometimes this doesn't even work. But considering we're going to be talking about what 6 different comics and stories with 6 different writers, It's really concise and well put together.
Yeah, yeah, you could definitely excuse a plot hole here and there or some inconsistency, especially when talking about separate authors working concurrently on a tight schedule, because I guess these are releasing in an intertwined manner. It's not like you're releasing one run and then the other, and that makes things even more complex.
Yeah, so I think more or less like as an individual book, you're releasing this monthly. But yeah, like because you have all of these kind of coming out at the same time, you're having a lot of them coming out the same day, and it's a lot. There's a lot going into it.
Yes, and we will see how that might be a bit of an issue once we get later on, especially once these comics start coming out during the pandemic in 2020, as a lot of them were delayed or artists or writers couldn't work on them. So you're going to see some bigger time gaps as we get farther in.
All right.
But
Yeah.
hopping back into the story, we are now in the present, where Storm and Cyclops are breaking into the last Orchis stronghold on Earth, and they're currently just ripping through all of the lackeys and goons that are running around this place.
Yeah, it's
There's
been a
a
long journey. You know, I guess this is a big accomplishment. We've witnessed the eternal battle between the X-Men and Orchis, and it's finally happened. They're finally winning.
Yeah, I can't believe it. We're at the end of this. It is weird uh how final this battle seems, but also I think them specifying last Orcish stronghold on Earth is important.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it's still a
Yeah,
bit silly.
because yeah, that space station around the sun is not going away.
Yeah, it
Um
still feels like it was only last episode that I said that the Orchis battle would be probably the dominant thread for going forward.
yeah, and then here they are mopping up some remnants.
Here we are, yeah, at the very end of the battle.
Yeah, Storm has an interesting note here about suicide bombs.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that. She didn't have to go that hard all of a sudden. She basically says suicide bombs and serving the greater good are always the last refuge of a conquered people. And I'm like, hey, Storm, you gotta chill. That's a bit rough.
Yeah, I mean, turn down the colonialism a little bit there.
Just like a tiny bit. That would be really good. You're destroying these people. You don't got to be like that.
She's sleep deprived. Uh,
That's true. You can't turn down the colonialism when you're tired.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it just leaks out.
hmm.
They just want to nap.
So, but can't nap while you're trying to destroy the people who are trying to kill you. And as they are talking throughout all of this, they finally get to a massive group of Orcus soldiers, and they found the heart of the facility, which is where our favorite dramatic friend Magneto makes his appearance as he casually rips open the ceiling as he and his daughter Polaris descend into this area to make their way to the ground.
Oh boy, and dramatic it is. He wants Polaris to clear the floor so he has a clean spot to land in.
He wants no rubble and certainly no rabble beneath his feet when he lands. And she just casually just kind of sweeps away these 2-3 dozen soldiers.
This is Polaris' first appearance in the Krakoan era, right?
She showed up very briefly, I believe, in House of X number 6. She and her father were talking right before they brought back the X-Men after they died. But
Oh,
she's
I
been
see.
very, very background. So this is her first really big moment of actually doing something.
Yeah, so as a character I know nothing about, would you care to introduce her to me?
Yeah, I only know a little bit about her. She is Magneto's daughter. She has the same power set that he does, in which she can control magnetism and metal, I believe. I don't know much outside of that. Tim, I don't know about you.
Yeah, she's usually in a heroic role. I think she's been a villain maybe once or twice, but while she was possessed, she's dated Havoc for a long while, who's Scott Summers' brother. Um, and yeah, she's been kind of on rocky relationship with her father from time to time, just because she doesn't really support his whole uh, villain thing. But yeah, she's been a member of the X-Men. She's been a member of X Factor, so she's been around for a bit.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact power set then?
Pretty much. I don't know if it's any different, but yeah, it was always kind of odd having her and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch exist as all children of Magneto because they kind of felt separate from each other.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. Those two have been retconned now. Uh,
Yeah. So, but she is still the actual biological daughter of Magneto.
So who's her mother?
that is a good question. Let's hit Google real quick. Someone named Susanna. I
Sure.
don't know who this is.
All right.
She had an affair with mutant terrorist Magneto, which resulted in the birth of Lorna.
As one does. As one does.
She dead? I don't know. Okay. I got nothing. This is yeah, she's deceased. She seems like kind of a bit character.
Mm-hmm. They needed a mother for her, and there she was.
Yep.
All right. Don't think about it then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, don't think about it. The only important thing is that her dad is Magneto.
Sure.
So, and she's been around. She's pretty strong in her own right. She's just not as strong as Magneto.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
and speaking of Magneto, shout outs to his white costume. I really love it. I do like his original kind of magenta costume, but his white costume looks so good. And it really pops in all of these panels that they have. Just, if he stayed in that costume for the entire rest of however long he exists, I will be so okay with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's very good.
Yeah, a lot of these costumes here are pretty good. I like this look kind of quite a bit, but yeah, let's get on with it a bit. Let's talk about the Orchis redundancies.
Yes. So, as they are making their way into the center of this Orcus stronghold, we see a bunch of scientists that are still there in the heart of it. We are introduced to a doctor here and his fellow scientists as they are trying to make sure that all of the information that is stored here was able to be sent to the base up in space. So everything will still be saved because the savage mutants are here to destroy it.
They turn themselves into gorillas.
They turn themselves into gorillas. Yeah.
Which strikes me as a very bad strategy.
Yeah.
They kind
It
of sell
doesn't
this as
seem
a trump
pleasant.
card, but I don't think it is. It is at all.
Yeah.
Also, Magneto is stoked for this.
Yes, they essentially all of the mutants make their way through, and they get jumped by a bunch of doctors that are now apes. And Magneto just gets a nice panel of him grinning, saying he'll handle this.
Uh, Also, I really like this line from Cyclops. All these apes have PhDs. I don't. It's good.
It's a funny bit, yeah. But I feel like
It's a good bit.
any one of these four could have taken those gorillas, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what kind of mutants they were expecting that would be handled by four gorillas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just a bunch of gorillas.
Yep.
That
No,
like a bunch of Orchis operatives couldn't handle.
Mm-hmm. And dozens of them, including some in like very high-powered armor suits.
Uh-huh. Well,
So, I mean, hey, last stand, so do what you gotta do, I suppose.
yeah.
But as Magneto is gonna easily handle all of those apes, we get deep inside of the hub here, where Polaris, Storm, and Cyclops find a bunch of stasis capsules, where when they open them, they find that they are full of mutant children, essentially, that have been held captive here by Orchis. Including one individual that is not a mutant, but seems to be a post-human.
Uh-huh. This is a lot of mutants that were trapped here.
Yeah, I think they mention at least over a dozen, but it looks like much more than that. At least 24, maybe more children have been kept here, and
Yeah.
who knows what's been going on with them.
Yeah, this is pretty. I think this attack on Orchis is pretty justified.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can understand Storm's kind of aggressiveness with it, even though her colonialism quotes from earlier are still really rough. I would understand being upset if a bunch of mutant children were being kept here. I would be upset too.
Oh yeah, I don't think they come across as the bad guys here. They're rescuing a bunch of people being held in stasis tubes. Like that's nothing good happens in a stasis tube.
Mhm.
No, not at all.
So is this post-human recognizable, or are they a new character entirely?
This seems like a new character.
Okay.
Yes, she is new. She basically is released from this containment, and she tries to use her powers on Storm and Polaris, but it clearly doesn't work. And she gives a bunch of cryptic lines that don't really make much sense, and then teleports out.
Uh
Storm
huh.
asks if she's from the Vault. I think this might be an older X-Men storyline. I don't really know what this is.
I did look it up because I was curious. This is in reference to the Children of the Vault, which was a storyline created a couple of years before this, where there was a mutant who kind of commandeered a boat and was able to raise a bunch of people on it in hyper accelerated time and was able to give them 6,000 years worth of evolution and time in a very, very short span, essentially. And they called them the Children of the Vault because they eventually evolved into post humans during that time.
They hyperbolic time chambered them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And everybody from that vault, really bad and really powerful. They believe that they are the true inheritors of evolution and plan to kill everybody else. So just know that they're bad.
Someone should tell them that's not how evolution works. But okay.
Yeah.
Um, I love this line. The post-human mentions there are wild gods loose in the world, and Magneto says, "Yeah, that's us."
Yeah. Again, flaunting as dramatic as he can be. Just walking back into the picture, not even with a scratch on him from having dealt with the apes either.
Yep.
The arrogance of this man is just impressive. It's
It's
good stuff. Like
it's palpable and it's really good. So they debate going after this post-human child, but Cyclops says no, we shouldn't. We have to get all of these children home, and we get a good shot of all of the mutant children that were kept in these stasis tubes. You have some normal ones, some that are bright gold, some that have, octopus legs. One of them's on fire. Just normal mutant mutations.
I like the real tall one.
I also like the real tall one, and I hope that's his mutation, is just being very tall. So, but they are able to bring these children back to Krakoa, where they are immediately checked out by Dr. Reyes, just to make sure that they're okay. And she even mentions that they have telepaths and empaths on hand, just in case these children need some help getting through the trauma of what they went through. And another point in Krakoa's favor of, I really want to live there, because, man, they bet they have some great free healthcare.
They sure do. I guess Dr. Reyes is a mutant being on Krakoa. I also don't know her.
Yes, I know this character vaguely. I forgot what her power is, but she does have a power. Um, Hold on, let me look it up. She's been around for a bit. She's been an X-Men before. Uh, let's see. She creates cytoplasmic biofields.
Huh.
She was also the villain in the New Mutants movie that nobody watched. I'm not really sure why, but
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, we don't talk about that movie.
traditionally she's a hero though. But yeah, so looks pretty good for free healthcare. Storm is exhausted, but apparently not exhausted enough to help. And yeah, we get some chanting for Magneto.
Yeah, we get to see Magneto in all of his dramatic, wonderful glory once again as he returns to a gaggle of children just chanting his name and begging him to take these kids with them next time so they can help fight for the mutant cause.
Yeah, I think that's cute.
I think it's good when all of your youth decide to be like, hey, that guy that wanted to kill all of humanity, that's the hero.
Yeah, I think Magneto has really kind of slotted himself into this role. He's enjoying this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. And he's got again some really good lines here. There's a children. There's a child there that says, why can't we fight with you? We want to fight with you. And Magneto says, no, no, no. I fight so you don't have to. And the kid asks, well, I'm not afraid to fight. I won't run. And Magneto says, you won't have to, for I am Magneto. Let man run from me. And then he dramatically puts on his helmet and walks away.
It's just the most drama. It's great. He's great. I love him. Uh, I like this conversation between Cyclops and Polaris on the next page as well. Uh, there's kind of an interesting bit. I feel like it's kind of subtle where Cyclops invites Polaris to visit, and I think the implication there is she's kind of worried about seeing Alex, because that is her ex.
Yeah, the probably the one big negative from Resurrection is all of your dead exes are back now, and you will have to talk to them.
Yep.
So, but like Tim said, Cyclops and Polaris kind of walk their way through the Krakoan woods here, and they have a nice conversation, talking about how Cyclops was very, very close to giving up on the dream of his family living happily and just letting the world kind of beat him down with all of the violence they committed against mutants. But because he believed in it and because they worked towards it, finally they have paradise again.
Yeah, I feel like on the surface here, just from what we can see, Cyclops kind of seems like a true believer as of right now.
Yeah, he comes across as very zealous in this.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
he likes being here, where Polaris seems to be a bit unsure of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I do really
Mm-hmm.
like the family drama aspect, and now that you mentioned it, the resurrection drama is a prevalent theme across these issues that we're going to be discussing for the next couple of weeks, and I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed that stuff, like the character moments and confrontations. It's all good stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna we'll talk about it later, but the way that the different writers handle each of those coming back is also really interesting because you do have some like Cyclops here who is just very much believing in the cause, sees it as a very positive thing. But then you're going to get some mutants who are really unsure about it, some who really don't buy it, and you kind of get a very broad view of the different opinions about what's happening here with Krakoa.
Right.
So, but we've had our fill of mutants now, and we're going to head on back up to the Orchis Forge, still going around the Earth. And here we meet a new character named Dr. Devo. He seems to be the one in charge of putting Orchis together. He says that he is the one that repurposed the Forge into what it is now, as well as repurposing the Trask Sentinel program to working with Orchis. And
Yeah,
he discusses. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
they had a data page, I think, back in House of X and Powers of X, and this was the person that was mentioned to be in charge of the whole Orcus thing. So that is correct.
He's got some
And
funky glasses.
Oh, yeah, they are very funky. I love the tubes.
yeah, he's got some tubes going to like a something on his back. They've got really odd like spikes coming out of the corners of them. They're very extra. So,
This
but
future fashion.
Mm-hmm.
this future fashion that he has going on here. And something here that I really like is Karima mentions that, they have gotten all of these different groups to work with Orchis, including 6 members of Hydra, which are basically just Nazis. And Dr. Devo's like, well, sometimes we have to tolerate the lesser evils to make sure we survive.
Yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
again very much some Operation Paperclip shit. I like Karima's disgust at the Hydra people being here. I think it kind of gives us a better idea of the numbers too. You could probably math this out based on the percentage they gave us from a couple issues ago. I'm not gonna go do that, but I know there wasn't a big percentage of Hydra people. Apparently, that equates to 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm sure somebody has done the math out there, honestly. But I also like, as we get this brief introduction, we also get the twist on the phrase, just look at what they've done. which we
Yeah,
got
when
a lot of in House of X.
right, yeah, I think that was really good too. They kind of turned it on the head because you get that line with just all these coffins of people that died when they invaded the space station.
Mm-hmm. Which again makes what Sabretooth did not that bad. But you know, don't have much of a say in that one.
Sure, I actually think a surprisingly low amount of people died in that attack if this is the entirety of the casualties.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
surprisingly
looks like
less than what you would think. Although I would not be surprised if most of those were Wolverine.
yeah, no kidding, but yeah, this looks like a couple dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So, but as Dr. Devo states, this is simply the price of conflict, and they knew it was going to happen one way or the other. So they have to do what they have to do. Something, though, I also found interesting is Karima mentions that making the Orchis Forge was not a mutant deterrent, but a human deterrent. And I think they have a point there because what they're trying to do is genocide against the mutant population. So obviously, you're going to have Earth's heroes not be a fan of that.
Yeah, presumably.
Yeah, and yeah, and it makes sense. That makes it harder for humans to get up there, but not necessarily like mutants.
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
And putting the space station where it was always going to eventually get to the mutants.
Yeah. So we get that discussion. And once we've had our fill of the villains, we head back to our mutant friends, this time in the Summers house, which is a beautiful mutant habitat right next to the blue side of the moon with a very, very nice view of the Earth.
Yeah, so Corsair here is Cyclops' dad. He is a member of the Starjammers. They are a group of space pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
As one's parents are.
Yeah, I was not aware of Cyclops' parentage.
Uh, to be fair, it's not typically brought up because his dad is usually gone. He's usually off in space doing pirate stuff. So Cyclops is almost always raised by Xavier in some fashion.
Hmm.
Yeah, his dad definitely takes a big backseat in a lot of these things.
Is his dad an older character than Cyclops?
He's not older than Cyclops, but he has been around for a little bit. He's another character that was introduced in the Claremont run.
All right.
Mm-hmm. But importantly, why he is here is because they're throwing a nice house party on the moon. Uh, with this house party, you have Cyclops, you have his father Corsair, as well as the rest of the Starjammers. You have Raza Longknife, Cha'ad, Hepzibah. You also have Cyclops' brothers. You have Vulcan and Havoc. You have Wolverine, Jean, Cyclops, and Jean's daughter Rachel. She's listed as Prestige here in the opening. And they also have their son Cable with them as they are barbecuing and just honestly having a great time.
Uh, Chris, I feel like you kind of glossed over the big detail here, and that is that they're on the moon.
Yes, they are on the moon. As Cyclops says, you know, they could grow a Krakoan habitat anywhere, so he figured, why settle? Why not just shoot for the stars, quite literally?
Yeah, they got a fun view of the Earth from here. It's a cool spot.
So, and we get a bit of a look at what life is going to, well, not kind of look like for every mutant, but we do have the first example of at least a habitat or some place for people to live. And it sounds like Krakoa built this, so we could assume that Krakoa is also likely building other places to live back on the island.
Yeah, this seems like a meld between organic stuff and like very modern looking architecture. Like some of these I don't buy being completely biological. So I would be
Mm-hmm.
interested if there's like a foundation they laid in terms of like structure, and then they had Krakoa like inhabit the place and then provide it with life sustaining facilities or amenities,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's all
I,
Krakoan, which I don't think it is.
Yeah, like I don't know if I buy that this grill is Krakoan.
yeah, me neither. It wouldn't surprise me if some of this was already there, or at least they had to build a little bit of it so Krakoa could,
Yeah,
take seed and grow here. But yeah, I would agree with Sergio. I think it's like a mix.
Uh,
yeah, it definitely does look like a mix. I feel like it's very um obvious how there's like a meld because you've got like very obviously branches and roots growing throughout, but there seems to be an underlying structure behind all of that plant stuff.
A lot more hard edges than the soft kind of plant material that we've seen elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then, Sergio, can you tell what Vulcan's powers are just by his wonderful fire puns?
No, no idea.
Okay, good. We might find out soon.
Something
But
related to water maybe. He wants to put out that fire. I don't know.
I think so.
uh,
Why they put him on the grill, I'm not sure. But
I,
eh.
I think his mutant name is Iceman. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Uh,
I love this interaction between Vulcan and Wolverine. Just by the
yes,
way,
it's very fun. I feel like Vulcan went to the Magneto School of Dramatic Acting. Because he every time he says something, it has to relate to fire.
Not the best
Almost.
student though.
No, not the best student because his is a lot more clunky. Uh, but he's still being as dramatic as he can be.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
just talking about the fire. Wolverine really just wants a steak, rare. Uh, Vulcan's giving it to a medium rare. I think he's personally doing Wolverine a favor, but
Oof, that was a controversial statement, my friend.
no, medium rare is a good way to eat a steak.
No, it is, but some people might kill you for that. But also interesting thing to note, this is the first instance of Vulcan being back since he has died. Up until this comic, he has been long dead. So he's one of the first mutants to come back through resurrection.
Hmm. Well, good for him.
Yeah, it seems like death treated him pretty well. We then get Cable and one of the members of the Starjammers talking about guns, where Cable asks if he can trade for his gun, but Jean says, he's got to set the table first.
Note here about Cable. This is a pretty recent change. This is a younger version of him than is typically around. The a couple of runs before this, like I think like in like the last two, Kid Cable decided older Cable wasn't doing his job right, killed him and took his place. So now we got teenage Cable.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, it's a lot when it comes to Cable. There's a lot of time travel stuff going on with him. So sometimes you have very old Cable with Cyclops and Jean, who is Cable's parents, and they are far younger than older Cable.
Yeah, I've seen Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing basically. So, but Cyclops and his brothers have a gift for their father. They give him a Krakoan gate, which he can plant into his starship. So if he ever does need to come back and see his family, he can do so just by walking through the gate, no matter where he is.
Yeah, I do like this aspect of exploiting the Krakoan capabilities for creating portals and placing them in interesting spots, like the
Mm-hmm.
inside of a ship or the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes for
like
interesting opportunities.
yeah, like it makes his dad, who is pretty hard to get in touch with, like just kind of a portal walk away.
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm. And when we move on to our next episode, we'll see that that's almost immediately taken advantage of in another story. But after they give him the gift, we do get some data pages now about the summer house on the blue area of the moon. We get kind of a slice of what the place looks like. It is also a launching point for any first strike capabilities that are needed for any space incursions. So there are spaceships there. There's the gate there as well. There's a pool underground. That sounds really nice. But it's all around a pretty nice house.
It is.
Yeah, we also get kind of a data page here about the room breakdown. Sergio, have you noticed anything interesting about this room breakdown?
Huh. Is it the empty rooms? Is this
Uh,
about the Quiet Council?
10, 11, and 12, which is Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean's room specifically, have connecting doors between them.
Oh, I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
noticed that. No.
Yes,
Yeah,
and it.
very specifically, none of the other rooms do.
Sure, I think that's good for them.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It. It's
it's
always.
a good way to solve that love triangle.
Yes, they have been a love triangle for a very long time. Usually it's just the two men between Jean. So having Cyclops and Wolverine now kind of more connected in a way is a different take on it, but I'm also all here for it. It would
Yeah,
also explain why Wolverine is at the Summers family party.
Yeah.
that does make sense. Yeah.
So, right after that, we get Cyclops on dish cleaning duty, as he is cleaning the dishes with some sort of Krakoan goo gun
I,
that fires a weird sort of goo that eats all of the food on it and evaporates into elemental gases.
this is also just a great page. I love his very matter of fact comic booky explanation, only for his Corsair just to be like, "Hey, that's gross."
Look, I disagree. I would love a Krakoan goo gun.
Yeah.
Same. That would make washing the dishes so much easier.
Yeah.
So,
So
and
yeah, you get the goo on the plate and it eats all the bacteria and waste for you, so you don't actually have to do dishes.
mm-hmm. Although I would like to see what the original was, because apparently this was a compromise between them and Krakoa,
Oh
where
yeah, that
Krakoa tried to fix plates.
yeah, it was giving them edible plates.
So, but I mean, if that's some of the basic things that Krakoa can do, I really want to see what else it can do just to make life easier, because that sounds great.
Yeah. I was asked last episode if I would move to Krakoa, and I think this settles it for me. It's a done deal. If I
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
get to use
you
the
get
goo gun.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
perfect. No notes.
that's all Sergio needs is, hey, I don't have to do the dishes. Easy.
It's a good bit of world building. It's a pretty good moment here from Cyclops and Corsair as well. It also just kind of I think reframes that Cyclops is very much a true believer in all this.
Mm-hmm. Cyclops' father essentially mentions that he's very worried about his sons because he knows how people treat mutants, but Cyclops reassures him that, he really believes in this. He really thinks that this is finally what he and his family deserve here. So he's going to do what he can to keep it and make sure he lives life while it happens.
Yeah, I do really appreciate this as a and the whole family meetup as a bit of levity and some good character building. I really like this
Yeah,
interaction.
I think this comes across very well, especially after House of X, Powers of X, which was a lot of kind of bigger picture type stuff to kind of have this more kind of grounded, down to earth issue where you have these individual character moments. I think was pretty needed.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that too. We get some of the world building, we get more of the characters just, enjoying what this is. And it's honestly kind of nice. As much as I did really like the big picture that Hickman was doing, getting more of the personal kind of in-depth stuff is just a nice change of pace.
yeah, it's just good slice of life stuff.
Mm-hmm. With the goo gun.
Mm-hmm.
So after we get that really touching moment, we are back up in space at the Orchis Forge as Dr. Devo comes to talk to Dr. Gregor, as she was not at her husband's funeral, despite the fact that there was not much of her husband left to bury, as he was the one that blew himself up to stop the X-Men. And it's here also that we learn that Dr. Devo was born blind. But thanks to science, he is able to see in all sorts of ways, infrared, ultraviolet, and so on, which explains the weird goggles, but doesn't explain the design. However, as this is happening, Dr. Gregor is working on some sort of pinkish crystal. And she says essentially that there was no reason to mourn her husband because she knows of a way to bring him back. And that is where this issue is going to end on a cliffhanger as she's holding this crystal in front of her.
Yeah.
I will say I think the glasses aspect of it, I feel of how the issue was starting off, that's a pretty interesting parallel to Cyclops. I'm not really
Hmm,
sure why we're drawing parallels between Devo and Cyclops, but that does appear to be the intention here.
interesting. I didn't think about it that way, but that is a good point. That we do now have two characters in here with very different directions, but both have the same thing with their glasses.
It
Interesting.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think with Gregor, I love that this is the cliffhanger. Is I know how to bring him back, and I think it really kind of shows how common it already feels for the mutant resurrection, that it doesn't feel like a big deal in the context of mutants coming back to life, but when she's talking about resurrecting a human, all of a sudden that's a cliffhanger,
Yeah.
and that does have weight. It's like, oh no, what is she doing?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because with mutants, hey, it's whatever. It also helps that her husband and herself are both the villains. But yeah, you have a good point that no, her saying that it's like, oh, okay, so what is she gonna do? What does she have planned with this crystal here?
Yeah, like you couldn't do that cliffhanger if you were talking about a mutant now.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Sergio? What are your thoughts here?
Um, Not many, truth be told. I really do like, and I was about to say, every time we see the Orchis Forge, it's without the head that we saw it obviously during previous issues, and I really do like that. Every time I get to see the Orchis Forge, I remember the attack and the whole thing that happened there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I would agree with that too. It's also a very striking image, just right in front of the sun. It looks really good.
It is, yeah, and they use it twice here, so yeah, good effect, and they knew it.
All right. Any closing thoughts from you two on this issue of the X-Men before we jump on to our next one?
It was a good one. I enjoyed it.
I want to know what edible plates taste like.
I also want to know what edible plates taste like and why it was so bad they had to move to the goo gun. Because
Yeah,
that.
I'm
What?
very interested in Krakoan technology. It sounds wild.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you have so much fun with it. So, but hopefully we'll see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, want to talk about pirates?
I am so ready to talk about pirates.
I
Sergio,
have
are you
never been
ready to
more
talk?
ready.
All right. So, moving on, we have Marauders #1. I'm on a boat. And this is our first one not written by Jonathan Hickman. This is written by Gary Duggan and was released in October of 2019. So, we open up here in Central Park as Storm and Nightcrawler are explaining to some mutants what a Krakoan gate is and how they can go through it to get to mutant paradise. And with them there is Catherine Pryde, also known as Kitty, also known as Shadowcat, and a bunch of other names besides. And she is the last one to go through the gate. Or so she thinks, as she smacks face first into it and is completely unable to go through.
Oh,
Yeah,
she smacks it all right.
that looks like it hurt.
Yeah. Uh, that is a busted nose and a black eye.
Yep. But that's okay because it's going to lead into a very fun story as we keep on going with one of my favorite starter titles, which is Ahoy Muties, as we get into Marauders. And we're opening up with a data page here that explains where Kitty went right after this incursion. She basically went to San Diego, stole a boat, and is now sailing to Krakoa.
So, is there a reason that comes to mind as to why she couldn't make it through the portal? Or is this going to be a mystery going forward?
Yeah, I believe this is a mystery going forward. Because that points to she is not a mutant. She has very much been known as a mutant for
Mm-hmm.
her entire run.
She has been around for a very long time. She was not an original mutant, but she was in one of the first big waves of additional characters, I believe.
Right.
All right. So that's never been a question until
No,
now.
until now, where she can't go through the gate.
All right. I do love this data page because it's really good at characterizing Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
We get like
Yeah.
a captain's log kind of thing. And yeah, I think her personality comes across really well in these lines. Even though they're not like long entries, they do a good job.
Yeah, like day 2, she makes a "I'm the captain now" joke, and that's the entire entry, and it's like, yeah, okay, I
Uh
kind
huh.
of get what your whole deal is, and then it's just like her getting bored and then realizing maybe I shouldn't be writing this down.
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm. But instead of getting rid of it, she puts it in a bottle because, I mean, obviously she's on a boat and throws it into the ocean.
Um,
Yep. And then it's retrieved by the Office of Naval Intelligence.
yeah, who's immediately like, leverage.
Uh huh.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I like how she makes a comment about not wanting her crimes written down and wanting to do away with the evidence, and then accidentally this ends up in the hands of the Office of Naval Intelligence. Uh, I'm guessing this is the U.S. It's not actually clear.
Yeah, it does say that the recovered bottle is being sent to USAMRIID.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I
So that's
guess,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably them.
Yeah, I think it's also funny that they're on their back foot so much that they have been reduced to like recovering flotsam from the island, trying to gather as much information as possible.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, here's a message in a bottle. Let's maybe we can use this.
Yeah, this
Mm-hmm.
this shows they're not in a good position right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's top secret eyes only, and it's Kitty memeing for like a couple days.
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's really good, and it also helps with the world building too.
Yeah.
So we do get Kitty here on her boat with her dragon Lockheed that Sergio mentioned a couple of episodes ago when he popped up. He is just, in fact, a dragon. He's just a small dragon that hangs out with her, and apparently likes to hunt seagulls.
that's adorable. By the way, just I like that.
Yeah.
And once Lockheed is back with the seagull, she figures Krakoa must be nearby, and she's probably blind because it is, in fact, right in front of her and is very, very big.
Yep.
But we
Just
do get a.
towering in front of her.
Mm-hmm. But we do get a very nice shot of some of the cliffs of Krakoa as she sails onto it and makes her way onto land, where there's a couple of portals, and she runs into a mutant child who immediately makes fun of her because she is the mutant who can't go through the gates. So word has gotten around pretty quickly.
Uh huh. I really do like the colors in this. Like the previous pages with the Krakoan cliff sides, and then the previous one with her sailing around with the blues and the bright skies. It's really good looking.
Mm-hmm. It's a very vibrant color palette and a very vibrant issue just all throughout it, too. It's very, very nice.
Uh huh.
And meeting her there is Iceman. He greets her, sees that she still can't use the gates, even on this side of the gate, on Krakoa itself. But apparently the top men are on it, as Kate says. And as they're talking, Wolverine comes up and runs past her straight to the boat because he gave her a shopping list, mostly of a bunch of meat and a lot of booze.
I love this.
Yeah, it's good. It's real good. Um, I love that they'll FedEx the ribs.
Yeah, I like
Mm-hmm.
how in the first panel he's like barely on the shore, and then on the next one he's like halfway swimming
Yeah,
to the boat.
just already back, just carrying a keg on his shoulder.
Uh
It's
huh.
good stuff. It's great. Um, Also, I like that he requested pomade.
Mm-hmm. But also to, keep it quiet.
Uh huh. I do love the shopping list as a data page as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I also think because she kind of mentions this and doesn't mention who gave her the idea, but I like the idea that Logan was the one that suggested try using the gates from the other side and see if that will work.
Hmm.
Like, even though he is very much focused on this list, he is still trying to find a solution for her. Honestly, more than the top men seem to be doing.
Yeah, and that is honestly kind of a theme with her. Since she has been around for a long time and was a member of the X-Men, she's made friends with a lot of people, and you're gonna see a lot of people kind of come up to her and be like, "Oh, hey, how are you? How you doing?" You know, she seems to be able to make friends pretty easily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this comes across as very genuine because of the shopping list and the way um, Wolverine is talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
It does read as just good old camaraderie.
right. Yeah, like these characters have a lot of history, and I think it's really showing through here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it's something we're going to get more in this issue too after these next couple of pages. But I do like how more lighthearted this issue is compared to the others we've read. The others have had their moments of levity, but here it really feels like, okay, let's hang out. Let's just talk about stuff and do some things. No big important stuff going on. I really enjoy it. It almost kind of reminds me of a Saturday morning cartoon kind of a vibe.
sure. Yeah, I can see it.
So something about Kitty and Iceman here is those two characters actually used to date for a while until Iceman realized he was gay.
Hmm.
Mm hmm. Yep, but they're still good. They're still hanging out, having a good time. Iceman explains that Krakoa does have a flower to build homes if you need it, and apparently you can get food off of trees here, including one that kind of looks like a turkey leg.
Yeah, you don't need a plate for that one.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Uh, Kitty's not interested in this, or I mean
No.
Kate, as Emma calls her.
Yes, and she honestly does kind of look disgusted, and I would also be confused too if somebody picked off part of a tree and ate it like a turkey leg. I'd be a little concerned. But Iceman heads off through a portal that isn't seeing a lot of activity, in his words, and Kate is left alone for a moment as Emma Frost contacts her telepathically. And they have a bit of a back and forth conversation where uh, Emma has a proposition for Kate. She really needs somebody to help her with the Hellfire Trading Company and has offered Kate a place alongside her, kind of taking charge and being liberators for the mutants that live in countries or areas that did not accept Krakoa's amnesty deal.
Yeah, if you
They,
want to be liberators, maybe don't base your name on like trading companies.
yeah, kind
Yeah.
of a bad precedent there with the name.
Uh huh.
But I think that was also in mind because Emma does specifically say shipping corporations were often ruthless slavers. Our organization will proudly defy that and be liberators instead. So it is kind of a play on it, but that's a rough one.
So, just some character stuff in here too that I think is pretty interesting. Emma ends up asking Kate why she hasn't asked the rest of the X Men to call her that, and she doesn't seem like Kate doesn't seem confident that they will be able to switch that in their heads. Emma also mentions that she trusts Kate, and that is due to her being someone who's never once given someone an extra shot in the ribs because they deserve it. That might be important later. Uh, and Kate seems upset at this, thinking that Emma is calling her weak.
Mm-hmm. We get a picture not only from earlier with Logan, but here that she's very dependable, very personable. People trust her with a lot of things here. And she doesn't totally see that in herself, but clearly others do.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Emma in this issue. Looks like she's lost a lot of her luster from the runs that we've been reading so far. She comes across as an HR manager that's been calling nonstop, trying to hire Kate.
Yeah, and I think the implication we kind of get like later in this issue is Kate was not her first choice either. So she's really just trying to find someone to fill this spot and doesn't seem to be doing a great job at it.
Yes, it's actually the next page where Kate jokingly mentions that Aurora said no, didn't she? And yeah, no, it seems like she was not Emma's first pick, but Storm did not want to be involved. So, but despite being an HR manager, Emma does have a bit of a point. They show a couple of gates here, one of which is overrun with these mutant hunting animals. The other one, which is air quotes, not North Korea, and
Uh huh.
instead North Valnon, with heavily anti mutant forces around it. So, sure, I can believe that there are mutants out there that do need some way to get to Krakoa and can't use the gates.
Yeah, this does make sense.
The other the last thing I do want to draw attention to, it does very much seem to heavily imply Emma is trying to get Kate to be the Red Queen.
Yeah, 100%. Because she specifically says, you will ravish in red. So think about it. So
And
instead of
also
getting a.
says be a queen.
Yeah, that too.
Like,
So not so heavily saying, hey, if you do this, you could be the Red Queen. And you could be on the council. And a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, it's very subtle if you're reading through it. I know I didn't the first time, but reading back, I'm like, oh yeah, no, she did totally not subtly drop that.
Uh huh.
yeah.
So, but it looks like that's not what Kate's after. She still really does kind of need to think about it. And we are back with our friend Iceman with his wooden turkey leg as he walks through the portal and ends up somewhere in Russia. And he is immediately surrounded by these. They're not Russian forces. I believe they are a splinter group of Russian forces that call out and say that mutants don't need to leave Russia. Mutants serve Russia or they die. And they immediately attack Iceman for daring to come through.
Well, they're
Sure.
able to turn off his powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a Iron Man suit looking guy, and he has something that can turn off mutant powers, as Iceman is immediately depowered, and lucky for him, he was wearing flip flops and also some underwear.
Still not a great costume for chilly Russia.
Probably not. I think he might be. I don't know if he feels cold the same way,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
but yeah, probably
he
not
might
fun.
just be able to be like, oh, this is fine. This is my normal. But Iceman throws himself back through the portal, and Kate is there drinking bourbon and is pretty drunk by this point. And Iceman comes through and says, I almost just died, and Kate's just having a laugh about it.
I like this exchange. It's small, but it's just it's fun.
Yeah, he even lost a flip flop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Iceman suggests that they really should go through and deal with these Russians who are stopping people from going through the gate. And Kate's on board. She really wants to fight some aggro humans. And lucky for them, she has a boat. Iceman wants to go. And it looks like Storm is willing to come along too.
Hopefully she's rested since the last issue.
Yeah. Hopefully she got a nap. I think this is technically considered helping. No, I guess it would be fighting in this case because they're definitely going into battle.
Yeah, very true. And we're gonna take a bit of a detour here as we go to Taipei in Taiwan, as Mrs. Zhao holds a rally against mutants as she claims that her husband touched one of the gates and completely disappeared. And all the people around her are, very into this anti mutant message that she's saying. But Bishop, who is a mutant himself, has come to talk to her about her husband because they have no record of her husband ever going through a gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
She she has no interest in this conversation.
Yeah. She doesn't seem to have an interest in figuring out what happened to her husband. Or at least from the mutant prospect of it.
Yeah, gotta say I don't know this Bishop guy, but his plan of walking up and just asking her to talk, not the best idea.
Yeah, he gives up pretty quick too. Like
Uh huh.
this is 2 pages, and he's like, "Well, I'm standing down for the night."
Yep.
Yep. And he just is like, hey, Xavier, I'm out. Goodbye. But the one thing to know about Bishop is he is also from the future. He is a mutant. Looking it up here because I for some reason don't know off the top of my head. But he was around in Days of Futures Past, which is a very popular X-Men story. He is from there and was able to time travel back into this current time and able to try and fight for a future that isn't the one he's from.
I don't. Was Bishop in that? I know he was in the movie.
I could have sworn he was in it. Maybe I'm just thinking of the movie.
Yeah, I think he might be introduced a little bit later.
Okay. Then yeah, I might be thinking of the movie.
Yeah, because he's definitely in there. But yeah, something else I want to pick up that I kind of forgot to take note of. But Prestige, Rachel Summers, who was the member of the Summers family with the spikes, is also a child of Scott and Jean. That's from the future, just from a different timeline than Cable. So yeah, we got a lot of time travelers just hanging around.
Yeah, runs in the family, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Marauders, Pyro's here.
Yeah, Pyro's here, as the rest of them are on a boat, and Pyro just so happened to be sleeping on the boat that he thought about stealing, but decided to take a nap instead.
Yeah, the Iceman points out this is the original Pyro. I believe he's Australian. Um, they
What
introduced a
gave you that
different.
idea?
I think it was the oi.
Yeah, like he wakes up and says "Oi." His first line in this comic is "Oi."
Uh huh.
Um, but yeah, there was a new Pyro that they introduced in a couple runs ago that dated Iceman briefly, actually. So this is not that one. This is the Pyro from Burning Moira Alive fame.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm. And just to reinforce it, Storm reminds him, kill no man. Because he has now been drafted into their cause, since he does also happen to be on the boat that they're on.
Yeah, so this is another mutant that was dead before, and he kind of points it out that, oh, he was resurrected, was apparently one of the first, was used as a guinea pig just to make sure the resurrection stuff worked.
Mm-hmm.
He
And he
gets to
had
be
his
an early
feelings hurt.
adopter. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out for him.
Uh huh.
Same. But apparently, this boat is very, very quick because they make it to Russia really fast. And we cut back there to where this Iron Man fella is standing in front of the Krakoan gates, and Storm and Iceman come in and attack him. And he immediately depowers both of them, but thankfully, this was the plan, as Kate is able to come in and use her powers to deactivate the Iron Man suit pretty much immediately.
Yeah, I don't love this bit about them sailing to Russia and then attacking them from behind. Like, did no one notice the boat coming in? It doesn't seem like a very technological stealth boat. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of just a normal everyday sailing boat, so it is kind of odd that nobody noticed, but you could also argue they were so focused on the gate they wouldn't think that people would come by boat, but that's just trying to make the story make sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is very silly. It's almost cartoonish. The idea of them sailing all the way to Russia just to strike from behind.
yeah, they are. They're guarding this gate like it is the jail in a capture the flag game.
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm. But once they encounter actual resistance, they don't do very well, as we are going to get several pages here of Kate just absolutely decimating these forces, as she uses her mutant power of intangibility to move through them, move through their bullets, and when she needs to, make herself solid and just beat the shit out of them.
Uh huh.
Uh,
She
th-
merges a gun with two guys' legs.
yeah, yeah. Ow.
Yeah, that one's rough. That
Uh
one's
huh.
really rough. It's just a big old assault rifle just merged in between these two guys' legs. So, and you can even see one of them too on the ground clutching his head. And yeah, no, I would imagine that would really hurt.
Yeah, Kate is just seems almost bored of this fight. It's really fun. The tank rolls up. She just doesn't even. She's not even worried about it. Just phases through, messes this dude up.
Uh huh. I do like how one of them had a sword very conveniently. So she gets a sword.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
a very like pirate looking pommel.
Yes,
yeah,
that is my favorite part. Is it's a very pirate-looking sword.
Yep.
And this same pirate guy, where she takes the sword and knocks him out, she just also gives him one good kick in the stomach for final measure.
yeah. Again, just kind of a callback to that Emma conversation where she mentions she doesn't normally kick someone in the ribs, even if they deserve it.
That is a good callback. I actually didn't think about that.
Yeah, it feels like Kate is very deliberately trying to go against that image.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially because she does pause for a moment over this guy and then does it.
Mm-hmm.
Pyro says,
Pyro
boy.
also gets to show off here.
Yes, and he is extremely excited because, as we can see from his powers, he can't generate flame, but if he has a flame, he can control it and enlarge it. And lucky for him, Lockheed is a fire breathing dragon, and he is super psyched about that. So
Yeah.
once the rest of the Russian forces are dealt with thanks to Pyro, Kate tells the rest of the mutants to head back through the portal, but they're not done with this fun little venture yet. They enjoy hanging out with Kate, or at the very least feel that if they arrived here on a boat with her, they should leave on a boat with her. But also, besides freeing the gates, they also freed a bunch of people and possibly mutants from the Russian forces here as they were almost sent to the Gulag. And one of them is very conveniently filming all of this with their phone. And Kate is taking advantage of this moment where she's at the gate, she turns around and says, "If you're a mutant and you can't get to Krakoa, then the Marauders will bring you home."
So, I guess at this point we should talk about what the Marauders were before this. Um, the Marauders were a team of mutants working for Mr. Sinister that went into the sewers where the Morlocks were living at the time of New York and killed most of them, and then did a bunch of evil stuff after that.
Yeah, not the best name to invoke. And in the next panel, Storm mentions that as well because she knows the original Marauders team, and she's not a fan. She is not a fan of that name.
Yeah, Storm led the Morlocks for a little bit, was like the canon leader for a while. So yeah, she doesn't really love that team either.
So, but it is what it is. Kate finishes her nice arts and crafts session and makes the Marauders flag for them and asks Storm that even though she does not like the name, if she would join her on this mission that she's about to embark on. Because, as Kate says, she doesn't know really what she wants to do. She doesn't want to be on the island. It's unclear if that's because she can't go through the gates or for some other reason, but she'd rather be out here on the ocean.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this issue. I'd also be rather be on the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Storm is coming at it a bit differently. She does feel that there are many people trapped in hostile territories, and she doesn't feel like she could just turn her back on them. So, of course, she's going to help. And as this comes through, Kate sends a message to Emma, who picks it up telepathically pretty quickly, and Kate agrees to both of her proposals. Presumably meaning that Kate is soon to be the Red Queen of the Hellfire Trading Company, and whatever other deal she had mentioned to her.
Yeah,
And yeah, tells people to call her Kate as we close out the issue.
I like this panel with the four of them and the flag behind them.
This is a very fun team.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep, we have Storm, Kate, Iceman, and Pyro so far, and Lockheed. Can't forget about him.
yeah, I think they all play off each other really well. The chemistry feels like it's definitely there. Um, yeah, like where X-Men feels like a more slice of life issue, this feels very much like, oh yeah, we're gonna get a team together and go on an adventure. And I don't know, that's fun.
Yeah, it does a
It's
really
a
good job of it.
yeah, I feel like this is a good introduction to a book, and I feel like it's a good way to show the outside world of Krakoa while we're kind of seeing what's going on the inside of some of the other books.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm
Yeah,
excited to continue reading this.
Oh,
yeah.
we get some Sinister Secrets. I forgot about these.
Uh-huh.
We do get some sinister secrets at the end. We get about 5 of them. All of them are Marauders related, so they're not as general as the other ones. Tim, do you want to run these down?
Uh, I did not actually make a note for all of these, but let me see real quick. Yeah. So Sinister Secret number 11.
I think this
Uh,
one's pretty much about Kate and what
yeah,
we already saw in this issue.
they were the she was not the first or the second choice, but perhaps the third time's the charm. Sinister Secret number 12 here. I'm actually not sure what this is referring to.
It seems to be in reference to at least the Hellfire Trading Company, perhaps more of the Red King Queen side of it. It seems to be hinting something for that with the Krakoan medicine. It's not really clear what, but I think it is pointing in that direction.
Yeah, we hear one of the seas to be carefully navigated as deep in red. I almost wonder if that's referring to more Red Queen stuff, but I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
that was my thought. Rereading this now.
Sinister Secret number 13. Speaking of the black and white, not everyone got their invite. Quite a fox. Uh, I've never known how to pronounce that. I don't want to butcher it.
I think it's
Uh,
faux pas.
Faux pas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. We hope there's not a fight. I'm gonna guess that means Sebastian's not really in the know here.
Yeah, I would guess that as well. Or maybe there was somebody else that should have gotten an invite and didn't. I imagine we'll probably see as the future goes on. But yeah, there's something there.
Yeah, as far
Uh,
as I'm concerned, Sebastian should stay as far away as possible.
Yes, yes. Him and
Secret
his
number
capitalistic ideals.
right. Secret number 14 seems to be talking about some weird people hanging out near the gates. Probably not good dudes, judging by the wearing sheets comment. Sinister Secret 15 just mentions another boat.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So just a bunch of teases about some stuff coming up. We'll see if they pan out. We'll see what happens to them. But just some fun things to look forward to and just have a bit of a guess as to what they are.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I'm excited about the future of this run.
mhm.
Hope we get to see a ghost ship in the future.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be fun.
So, but that is the wrap up for Marauders number 1 and also X-Men number 1. I gotta say, X-Men number 1, like we said, was really fun. I do like the more slice of life look at it. Wasn't exciting in terms of action or anything, but it was just nice to see what that series at least might be going for. The same thing with Marauders. I do really like the more laid back, fun feel of Marauders. I like how bright it is. I like the characters and the team. I like the characterization of everybody. Emma, I agree with Sergio, is just kind of in an odd spot on this one, where she says a lot and is doing a lot of sales pitch, but that's about it. And that's not really the same one we saw bust into a super secret supervillain prison and bring Sabretooth out.
Right.
So, but what about you two? What are your thoughts on the wrap up of both of these so far? Our first look into the post House and Powers of X.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I do feel like these definitely focus more on character moments rather than the bigger picture stuff. X-Men definitely has some of that still with the post-human and the Orchis kind of plot lines, but for the most part, that also seemed to be kind of rooted in slice of life stuff. And I don't know, it's a fun direction. I think these characters work very well when they're bouncing off each other.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. These are two good issues. One of them more kind of like considered with a slow pace, more about the family drama, and the other one a little bit more actiony. But both do a really great job of like having characters bounce off of each other, which I thought maybe because of the like greater brushstrokes that it was working at, House of X and Powers of X didn't do so much. Also because of the pace that it had to move up. But now that we've got like these different runs and we get to focus on smaller teams, I'm really interested in that sort of like interaction between characters.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I'm excited to see where this ends up going.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, and,
mm-hmm.
and you know, overall, now that I've read all six of them, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I do really appreciate the wild directions everything's going into. So very excited for this new phase of the podcast.
Yes, and speaking of those future ones, for our next episode, we are going to be covering Excalibur #1 and New Mutants #1. Also, two very different takes than what we just read, but still fun in their own right. So if you are reading with us, just know that's where we're going next. And then after that, it's going to be Fallen Angels #1 and then X-Force #1.
Yeah. So yep, that's next up on the list here. But yeah, email us any questions at studyofx@gmail.com. Or just, comments, stuff we missed. Any past run knowledge is always appreciated. Please don't spoil us though. That would be mean.
Yes. I mean, Tim and I are the ones that are reading the emails, so we're caught up, but don't spoil us. That would still be mean, because there's a lot of stuff I forgot in particular. Or also just send us jokes. I like a good joke. If you got a good, like, X-Men joke or an X-Men pun, I'm here for it. Also, if you would like to send us any questions, comments, or puns, you can find us at Study of X on Twitter or Study of X on Tumblr. If you want to find me somewhere, you can find me at Sonics on Twitter. It's SAWNEEKS. And Sergio, where can they find you?
People can find me at Fireblend, FIREBLEND.
All right, and Tim, where can they not find you?
They cannot find me at Jonathan Hickman.
I think Tim's on international waters right now.
You know what? I think he is. He might still be on the boat that Kate stole. It's unclear if it ever made it back to San Diego, so he might still be out there.
It's possible.
All right, but that sounds like we're going to be wrapping this up here, so thank you for hanging out with us and reading these comments. Like the rest of the guys here, I'm really excited to get into this new era of the X-Men and see what these other runs are going to bring to the table.
It's a good time to be at the study.
And lots of studying left to go. Later, mutants.
Later, mutants.
All right, bye.